everyone, it's Ashley here. Welcome back to my channel. So about a week ago, I did something. I decided to make and host a supernatural watch party for myself and a few of my friends who have never seen the show before. And while I could have done like most people and just invited my friends over and just watched a couple episodes, I decided to be extra and invited them over and basically decorated the house supernatural theme, had supernatural themed food, and also picked an episode per season for all 14 seasons that are completed currently and on Netflix. Now this was a lot of work. In the end, it turned out well. So the party was about a week ago and I only had a few friends, but they all told me that they really enjoyed it. So this video here is to show you one, how I did it if you're interested in trying to do a party similar to this for your friends, and also two, just so you can see how this was and what it ended up being. Honestly, I've done one of these before, so when I came into planning this one, I already kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do and already had some of the things that I wanted to use for decorations, plans for food, so on and so forth. The other one I did was back in December of 2019. I had a couple of friends from back home over. Currently I'm in college right now at my apartment, but I had my friends from home over and we watched some of the episodes and did the same thing as I did for this one, so I already had an idea of kind of how I wanted to do this and knew somewhat of the plans to make it happen. For me to do this one with having the prior experience of doing this and also having some of the stuff already made, it took me 3 weeks of planning to make this happen. So the first few things I had to do was kind of decide on recipes, so on and so forth. The book that I used to be able to do recipes that are based on supernatural food items from the show was the Supernatural Official Cookbook that was made by Inside Editions. You can get this book on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, several other booksellers. I highly recommend it. The food is really good recipes, and it's fun for the supernatural theme. And if you're wanting to host a supernatural theme watch party or party of any type, recommend getting this because there's a lot of great things you can pull from here. So I filmed a little bit throughout the couple of weeks, so I'm going to jump into the first clip showing me talking about this book and my general beginning of planning. Hey everyone, so this is kind of the first day of me starting to kind of really work on my supernatural watch party hangout thing. I don't really know what to call it. I've been kind of already working on it because I invited my friends and I've already been thinking through everything, but I'm kind of starting to now fully work on it, trying to make it a reality. I have about 2 weeks until it, so I still have like a little bit of time, so I'm not stressed yet, but I am starting to try and figure out how I'm going to make it work, what I'm going to use, so on and so forth. The biggest thing I have done is I had made invitations to send to my friends because that's kind of fun. I made some on Canva. If you're ever wondering where my thumbnails and all that get made, it's on Canva. So I decided I'd make it on there, and that way I could just send it out and have something kind of cute. I'll show you guys what my invitation looked like. Kind of cute. It's got all the flannel plaid. Basically I wrote kind of a general description of what supernatural is and then explained that we are going to be watching an episode a season, wear comfy clothes, there's going to be food. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I've been thinking about trying to order some like supplies, decorations. It's going to show y'all the cookbook that I'm going to be using. This is the Supernatural Official Cookbook. This is the cookbook I will be using. I'll show you guys real quick what it is that we're gonna have. So for breakfast we're gonna do pig and a poke. For lunch we're gonna do Death's hot dogs, which basically we're just gonna make hot dogs. To go along with our hot dogs we're gonna make Biggerson's garlic knots. Well, I decided to do baby back ribs. To go along with them, we're going to do Garth's Roadhouse potatoes. These are super good. There will, of course, be pie. We're also going to have for a snack Jack's Breakfast Cereal Milkshake. And that's kind of what we're working with for the food situation currently. So yeah, I think that's about all I've been doing today and figuring out just the basic stuff. Day one, or somewhat day one. Kind of already been doing this, but somewhat day one in the books. So I spent the first kind of like bit getting the invitations ready, kind of getting the general like idea for the food and stuff like that. Then after that I was trying to figure out, okay, specifically decorations, because I was going back and forth of how I wanted to do decorations. And so here's another clip of me talking about a week after that, my plans that I had came up with. So it's been about a week since I checked in. About a little over a week before the Supernatural Watch Party. party. Currently, I've basically just kind of been doing the bare minimum of stuff right now. I just went and got half the groceries today and made a list of stuff. Trying to check in to figure out who all is officially coming. I mean, it's just a few friends that are coming over, but still I'm wanting to make sure that they're coming. I finally made a decision on my decorations. I decided that I'm just going to use what I have already. I was going to buy some stuff off of like Etsy and Amazon, but I decided since I'm paying for groceries to not do that. But I have a lot of Supernatural like things like merch and replicas and so on and so forth, so I'm just going to decorate with that. I will say, if you ever want to do a party like what I'm doing, suggestions if you don't really have a lot of Supernatural items you can use, then I was just doing some other ideas that I've done too that I've made. So you can do some DIY so that you can always craft and make some stuff, like make replicas or things like that. I have Supernatural posters that I made using Canva, but they're really, really nice to hang up on the walls, and so I just made the design on Canva, downloaded it, and then I printed it just on normal printer paper, and I'm just hanging it up with tape. So that's one idea. Another idea, if you want to do decorations, is you can do on painting. I have some Supernatural paintings that are hanging on my wall, so I'm just going to take them off and use them. But if you like to paint, that's another idea. I'm going to go to Target sometime next week to go pick up some more like the last second decorations, and like I'm going to get some cheap tablecloth and plates and stuff like that, so that way, one, it matches the theme, and two, can help with any like food problems so it doesn't get all over our tables and stuff like that. So I'm going to try to go next week to get that kind of stuff. I'm super excited. I'm so pumped. This is really fun to like plan and prepare for, so yeah. So a lot of stuff that I had made on Canva, as you saw, I'd already had made and just kind of played with it to change it a little bit to use for this one. If you want to make invitations, or I also did posters, you can use Canva, or you can also use Photoshop or whatever. Any of those will work to do it, or you can also probably find an app on like your phone or on your computer that you can use to probably be able to make those types of graphic designs. So then after that, I spent that next week kind of just getting everything together. So I ended up going grocery shopping. I had to cut some of the things on my list that I originally was going to do for food because of time. For example, I showed you guys the pig and a poke that I was going to do. I changed it up because I realized that was going to be too much food for what we were going to be having for breakfast versus when we were going to have lunch, because it was only going to be like 2 to 3 hours later we were planning to eat lunch. But I had to change some of my plans up. Decorations wise, I completely decided to use, like I said in the other clip, what I had, and so I was trying to get all of that together and figure it out. And then I did go to Target and then picked up a couple things. I didn't get a lot there because unfortunately there wasn't a lot at Target for me to choose from, but basically I picked up tablecloth and I picked up some paper plates and stuff like that to kind of match the theme. And then I also picked up cardstock because I use that a lot with drawing on it and so on and so forth. I took the idea of scanning some of the recipes on the cookbook with my printer and printed them out and cut where it explains where the recipe comes from, because that's one of the cool things in the cookbook is like Pig and a Poke, it talks about mystery spot. So I did that too and got that taken care of and printed it out and put it on the cardstock so I could bend it and put it at the food whenever it was served, so they could read it if they wanted to see where the food was from, why they were having that. The other big thing I was working on was figuring out the episodes, because that was like the big part of it. I will say, if you're wanting to do something like this where you're introducing someone into the show who's never seen it before, I highly recommend doing an episode a season and picking some of the most entertaining episodes that will catch their attention. Obviously, my goal of doing this was, one, to have fun, and two, it was to try to get some people interested in the show. Doing it this way, according to my friends, was one of the best way for them to get introduced into it, because sitting down and just watching it was just a lot to them. 15 seasons seems like a lot to them, but doing it this way, they got to see some of the episodes and they were highly entertained by them. You do need to make sure they do understand though that there's probably going to be spoiler warning, because I did this thing called Know Before the Episode, I called it, and basically I had written on my notes on my phone things that needed to be talked about before I showed an episode, so that way people were caught up with what was going on, because even in some standalone episodes such as The French Mistake and Changing Channels, so on and so forth, there is some of the plot that is going on throughout the season mixed in there too, and I know by explaining all this kind of stuff, it helps them to be more engaged in the episode and not just be like confused the entire time. Basically what I did 2 days before I was having the watch party, I cleaned my entire house, and then the day before is when I ended up doing all of my decorating. Okay, so now I am about to start setting everything up. I've kind of got everything placed in random places in the house. There's a mess currently everywhere, but that's okay. So I'm about to start doing all that. Okay, got a lot more done, so I got some posters up, and we did something really cool where we basically put the DVDs on, because I have all the DVDs for Supernatural, on the window frames because they were just big enough for them to fit. So it took me all day to decorate. When I say all day, I mean literally all day to decorate. And that was because I started getting some really cool ideas, and unfortunately when I was filming and all that, I was really busy because it took me all day, so I didn't really talk about it, so I'll talk about it now and some of the things I did in decorating that maybe you could do too. So one of the first things I did was hang up all of the posters that I had made, so I just used normal tape and just put it on the wall, and it was fine, it came off easy. And then after that, I basically had an idea that I could take my DVDs, because I have all the seasons, and actually my roommate's the one that actually came up with this idea, but she suggested putting them on my windowsill and putting some tape on it too to kind of help it stay up there, and I was obsessed with how it looked. I literally loved it. I took a lot of the things that I own, because not only did I have replicas and stuff like that and little figurines that I could put around, but I also had like Supernatural books. I used my DVDs. I just found whatever I had and just put them out. So like the books I used and decorated in the house, and then obviously I put my merch in different places and my figurines and then the replicas. One cool thing I did do is we have a little bar area in our house, and so I set up there basically things that people could go touch and look at. Some of it was replicas. I had Family Don't End with Blood and That Would Peace When You Were Done, which are edited by Lynn Zubernus, that I had put out for people to be able to read. And I also used some of Conquest Journal's items, such as John Winchester's journal replica, and also I had the Road So Far map out so they can look through that. In my journal, I also have the autographs from the cast whenever I went to SPN so I allowed for people to be able to look at that. I also have from Conquest Journals these notepads, which are Supernatural themed. One is a notepad that's from Bobby Singer's Auto Salvage, and the other, it looks like a Bigger Sins notepad for taking down orders. And basically I used this notepad to kind of just write down notes that I feel like Bobby and Dean would write to each other, and then I used this to kind of write down like I was taking someone's order, including some of the stuff that we were having, and then also including other things that were from the show, such as the Turduncan Slammer that was talked about in season 7, so on and so forth. And I just taped them up and used those as decorations too. I just found whatever I had and made it work to be able to use as a decoration, and I really enjoyed how it all turned out. I kind of felt like I was in my own little wonderland of Supernatural, and it was absolutely amazing. Another cool thing that I ended up getting in the mail, because my mom actually shipped it to me, was I finally got life-size cutouts of Sam and Dean. I would go get them right now, but they're currently put up. But I have a picture, so here's a picture. And so I actually was dying when I saw them. I basically made them photo ops of Sam and Dean, since, you know, conventions aren't happening in 2020 because of COVID. So I said, you know what, you can have your own photo op with Sam and Dean while you're here. They love this cutouts, so those were really cool. If you want some of them, they're online, so if you would like to look up where you can get some, you can find them on Amazon, or if you look up for cutouts on websites, you can probably find some there. I don't remember the website that my mom ordered these from, but they are really cool, and you're gonna see them in my videos sometime soon, don't worry. But basically, I just used what I had and just rolled with it. I had some Supernatural cups and stuff like that that I put out to put like the napkins and the silverware in. I just found what I had and made it work. When it came to the food, we basically followed the recipes in the cookbook, and I had them help because they wanted to help with cooking everything. Everything turned out really well. I have pictures that I took and some video footage of what it all looked like. Like I said before, for breakfast we did pig and a poke. However, we changed the recipe from what they had in the book because of how much food it would be, so instead we used pigs in a blanket, and they basically just got toothpicks and stabbed them into them, so it was pig in a poke. For lunch we had Death's hot dogs. Basically, we just made normal hot dogs and we cooked them on a little George Foreman grill and got some buns and condiments, and you know, Death loves food, so this was perfect for him. Also for lunch we had Garth's Roadhouse potatoes, which we did cook straight from the cookbook. Those were absolutely amazing. They were delicious and so good. One of my favorite things we had to eat. Later on for snack we had Jack's breakfast cereal milkshakes. These, if you've never tried them before, are absolutely amazing. It just takes a normal milkshake and just adds a little something to it, and I think it was a lot of people's favorite thing we had to eat that day. So for dinner we had the To Die For Chicago pizza, which is also another Death classic. That was when we first meet Death, is in Chicago eating a deep dish pizza. I basically could not cook this to save my life, and I didn't want to spend forever trying to make it, so instead I ordered it from a restaurant that is in my town that has deep dish pizzas and had it delivered to the house. That was the first time I've ever had deep dish pizza, and I've got to say it was super good. To go with it, we also had Biggerson's garlic knots, which we cooked straight from the cookbook. Those, if you've never made them before, also similar to the milkshakes, are absolutely amazing. They're easy to make and they're really good to be able to have with something or just as a snack. Of course, throughout the day, we could not have a Supernatural watch party without pie, so I basically just got 2 pies from the store because I was doing a lot of cooking and did not want to have to make a pie, and then explain on one of my cardstock papers pie's significance to the show. Overall, this ended up being an all-day event. It was super fun. I had a blast doing it, and everyone that came told me that they really enjoyed it and had a fun time. I had some people who said they were going to give the show a shot, so they came to the watch party, which was mission success for me. I highly recommend doing this if you're interested in trying to do something like this, whether it's for a watch party or if you're just wanting to have a supernatural theme like birthday party or whatever. It's really fun, and for me, while it was, you know, decent amount of work trying to get everything together, it was worth it, and I honestly had a blast planning it because I was surrounded by supernatural the entire time and I was doing something I was passionate about. I think it's really worth the time and effort, and hopefully after doing this video you learn maybe that you can also do this without having to spend so much money while doing it, because there's a lot of things you can do on your own and make on your own that you don't have to spend a lot of money for. That's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that maybe you at least were entertained by seeing how I did this and made this come into being. But also, if you're interested in doing something like this, kind of having an idea of how to do something, and also if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below and maybe I can answer them for you on how to do this, any other ideas, so on and so forth. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, that way I know that you enjoy these types of videos. Also, if you're not already, please subscribe. I'm so close to hitting 100 subscribers. I'm about 30 away now, and so that is absolutely astounding to me. Thank you all so much for supporting me and my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I am planning to do a giveaway when I end up hitting 100 subscribers, so if you're not already, hit subscribe so that way you can get to the giveaway sooner, because when I hit it, that's when I'm going to start doing it, and I have some really cool things I'm going to give away. So please subscribe so that way you'll be able to do that. And also you can see more cool videos like this, because I do a lot of fandom videos, including Supernatural. And also, if you want to check the description below, I have links to some of the things that I used in this video to make this party happen, and also my links to my social media are down there. I have an Instagram, Twitter, and a TikTok, where I also post a lot of fandom stuff, so if you would like to, you can check those out as well. Thank you all so much again for watching today's video, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Carry on, my wayward people. Bye!